Right, despite what it says, I'm going to go live. It's telling me that the stream's bad. But sometimes it warms itself up. See? Now it's saying it's okay. Hello, good evening and welcome. That's a very good idea, Mike. Apparently I'm live. But you never know. Yes. You do realise they can't hear what you're saying and they're just hearing me say yes and no. You could be saying anything. You could be saying absolutely anything.
I can't hear you.
Oh, don't tell me that. Well, you should be. It's sending the audio.
Now I can.
Oh, you see, you're lying to me as well, on top of everything else. So, it's good to have you with us. I can't see the chat at the moment. Give me 1 second.
There's only me chatting.
That's okay then. Yes, but other people might be there. You never know. Having said that, maybe they're not. Maybe after Christmas they've all had enough. Let me get out of cinema view. Default view so I can see the chat. Hello, you see, you're lying to me. Curtis is there. Good evening, Curtis. We have...
It's good afternoon.
Is it good afternoon where Curtis is? Okay, good afternoon.
I think it's in the States.
Yeah, now, poor Curtis. I just said we have, and you interrupted, and now he doesn't know what we've got. I think I might have got as far as Affinity. But I didn't say Affinity what, did I? Now, I did promise I would do the next demo in Windows, but I'm not pushing that tonight, believe you me. You can do whatever you want. No, you're not on yet. It's not your turn yet. How was our holiday? Our holiday was fabulous. We have no family. So we have these very close friends whose daughter has kindly adopted us as second parents. We are so blessed. And they invited us round for Christmas Day. So it was them and their daughter, their son's wife, their 3 children, and
A partridge in a pear tree.
and I'm trying to think of a way of describing June. No, I've said the 3 kids. The mother-in-law, yes, the son's mother-in-law. It was complicated, but it was fabulous. The kids got a game. I can't remember what it was called, but it involved slime. This game was like you put slime on a plate, and then you turn this handle, and randomly the plate wafted up and deposited the slime all over you.
Good,
as you do.
It's good for 3-year-olds.
Well, yes.
How's my Surface? My Surface is doing fine. I've not had it open for a week. It'll probably need 1 billion updates.
Oh, let that be a lesson to you. Right. I need to find the file that I need, and it's disappeared. I hate it when that happens. But there was a reason.
Is that going round and round deliberately?
Oh, no. I don't know. Can you all still hear us? Because this isn't looking good at my end.
Yes, we can.
Oh, that's all right then. Well, I don't know why mine's not behaving itself, but sometimes it doesn't. What can I say? Yeah, I need to find some files. And I know I called them something like rename. Did I have them in the downloads folder? Oh, I do love it when I can't find what I'm looking for. Renaming demo, which explains why I couldn't find it when I searched for rename, because there's no E in renaming. Hoisted yet again by my own petard.
Curtis can hear us both. So.
Excellent. So, Curtis, did you have a good Christmas, and what did Santa bring? What did Santa bring? That's the most important thing, what Santa brought.
And was it tech related?
Well, I hope so. Surely not. It surely wouldn't not be tech related.
I've got alcohol.
I've noticed that, actually. You got a lot of alcohol. Is this saying something about you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 2 bottles of rum. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
Only in your case, 2 bottles of rum.
And some port.
I thought you were going to say something else then with an N.
Porn.
No, it was in a bottle. It was port.
It was.
I tell you what, it's potent.
I know.
Ooh!
I sniffed it.
It's like furniture polish.
I sniffed it. That's as far as I got.
Right. We're good to go, I do believe. Although that's not looking healthy. But yours is, so never mind. It could be because I'm on Wi-Fi with it. Do you know what? I think I should... Oh, no, I can't pause it, because if I pause it, then I won't see the chat. But do you know what? Maybe they're saying things and I'm not seeing it because it's going mental.
No, because I'm seeing it.
What was the last thing in the chat? Was that Curtis talking about your Surface?
No, I can hear you both.
Well, that's not come through to me. Oh, no. I'll have to refresh it. You're doing the chat, aren't you? Who's in?
Who's in? McJim.
McJim! McJim the real! Fabulous! Good to have you with us, McJim. I've refreshed that, hoping for better, but I'm not hopeful, actually. Shall I plug the cable in and try it that way? Oh, tech, honestly.
Should we ask McJim if he's got a Surface?
McJim, did Santa bring you a Surface? That's our number one question for you, McJim. Did Santa bring you a Surface? Mike's just shamefully admitted that he hasn't opened his for a week. Naughty, naughty, naughty. I was just going to say my dongle isn't there. It's saying it's not connected. Now it's connected. Way! Right, maybe that'll work better. So, let's have a look. I've refreshed. You're still seeing, hopefully, what I'm seeing. And now I've got no chat at all. Oh, I have. There it is. Way! Right, McJim, you're in. Fabulous.
What you say?
And Curtis is saying he's had a peaceful day, which he enjoyed.
Yes, that's the last chat.
Right, marvellous. I can now see everything. Isn't it a damning indictment of Apple Kit? I've got to plug in a dongle to even see the chat on YouTube. But we're not going to moan and whine. Well, not much anyway. So I'm going to make the chat bigger so my poor old eyes can see it. And it would be an idea if I shared the running order, wouldn't it? So to do that, I'm going to have to share my desktop. Why have I put those on the desktop?
So you can access.
Well, yes, but I'll have the presentation up. So, I'll leave them there. The after hours is, as everybody knows, a little bit on the chaotic side. But we usually get there in the end. So I need to share my desktop with you, which was that one there. So let's transition that. You should now be seeing my desktop. And then, as if seamlessly, she said, then we'll get the slides up and you can see what we're doing tonight. Now, I do apologise for these slides. Doubtless I've spelt something wrong at some point.
Are we started now?
We've now officially started.
Hello,
2 minutes late.
Welcome to MacBites. After hours
7. Way! The James Bond episode. You should have your ducks on. Mike has been known to deliver training in a full dinner jacket.
I did. I was going out to a party afterwards.
Yes, but unfortunately tonight he's not.
No, but he does.
It's all right. He is.
Does have clothes
yes,
on.
he is clothed. It's not that bad. Oh! I need to go down here.
McJim doesn't do Santa.
Santa doesn't exist. Beg to differ, McJim. He sure as heck brings a lot of stuff here. Right, replacing iPhone plug with a... Oh, what's one of those? Never heard of one of those. A dumb phone. Oh, no.
A punked MPO2.
Go and look it up.
Oh,
go and look it up so I can see it. Right. Oh, my. I'm still with my iPhone 7 Plus. It's 2 and a bit years old. I wasn't interested at all in the iPhone 10. Logic being I didn't think the face recognition was something I wanted to be bothered with at all. However, as you know, I did buy an iPad 11-inch. Oh, that looks like that rabbit phone from years ago. Do you remember you used to have to turn up at a place that had a rabbit symbol on it? Not to be confused with Playboy. That actually looks quite dinky. It looks like a little remote control, McJim. I'm impressed. I've never seen one of those. You're going to have to do as a review. I want to know all about it. So I bought this 11-inch iPad, and of course, it's got face recognition and no buttons. And the face recognition is seamless. And I thought, why did you hold off that phone for so long? So the next time there's a phone, I think we're going to have to face facts and upgrade. There's also a battery issue with the other one. That's a long, complicated story that needs to be sorted out before next Monday. But I think that's for a MacBites show. Because as you can see, what we've got tonight, I'm doing... Now, you see, that doesn't do it full justice, to be honest, this finding stock images from your desktop. Bear with me on that. It was a sad, sorry tale that happened on Boxing Day that led to finding stock images from your Mac desktop. Mike is going to be doing signing documents in PDF Expert. Then I'm doing renaming files. And then I'm doing Affinity Photo because we've got concert photos. We actually left the house. We left the warm and safe bosom of MacBites headquarters.
Shall I sing? Or will that give the game away?
It'll give the game away, so you mustn't.
I'll sing later.
you can do your turn later. So we've got... Beer? Have you not got your beer, McJim? We can do virtual beer. Actually, I'm not sure if we got beer in.
We have.
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
I don't drink, so
San
I don't.
Miguel.
I have no idea.
It's for guests.
We have guests. We let people in the house.
No, but if we did.
Oh yeah, well, obviously if we did, you know,
There's
if
only
anybody,
one person I know drinks it.
if anybody's ever passing,
Essex's.
you see, it's all. I have no idea what
I
that
don't
is.
know what Essex is.
It could be glue for all I
The
know.
only way is Essex.
I've no idea.
No.
Not a clue. If it's not water, I don't drink it. Anyway, after the concert photos, we've got the unboxing of the week, and then this has arrived today, and it is still in the shrink wrap. And I've been itching to open it, so we do have an unboxing. And then we usually have an app chat. And today we want to know what apps you have abandoned this year. So have a think about that. Apparently it's not Essex's. He's saying it's the spell checker. Love it. Love it. Okay, so first demo of the night is this finding stock images from your Mac desktop. Now, as it says, it's the sad, sorry tale of Audible's Christmas sale. Now, I don't know about you. I love to read. I read a lot. But because I'm on my health kick and I'm on a bike, I actually can't read my Kindle very well. It moves. So I've taken to listening to audiobooks. So I was very interested in the Boxing Day sale. It was basically lots and lots of books, very, very inexpensive. I think there was a couple of dozen at 99 pence and some at 2.99. So, given that a voucher for you can get like a two voucher deal. Good evening, Graham. Good to have you with us. McJim's in. Say hello to McJim. This is McJim the Real, all the way from Bonnie, Scotland. So this sale came on and I was looking around for books and stuff. So I needed to do a search for a book. And this is what I got faced with. Who can tell me what the problem is with that? That was the page. And yes, it was alive and it all worked and I could buy stuff. And the navigation worked to move left and right. Not a problem at all. But what's missing? I'm glad your stuff worked out, Curtis. Ours wasn't too bad, was it? No. Couple of issues with some blocks in Gutenberg not being recognised as what they actually were, but nothing fatal. Nowhere near as bad as I thought it might be. So, who can tell me what the problem is with that? I shall let you have a ponder for a second. Because I looked at it and I felt very discombobulated. I knew there was something not right, but I couldn't for the life of me instantly see what the problem was. One of those things where you go to a website, you know exactly what you want to do, and then you sit there and you look at it and you think, I've forgotten now why I'm here. What's not right with it? Well, I'll show you what it should have looked like, and you can tell me what was missing. That was what I was faced with. That is what I should have been faced with. Yes, the search box was missing. In fact, the whole header was missing. If we have another look on there, there's no way that it's saying Audible, which in hindsight was what was throwing me, but actually the entire header was missing, which meant I couldn't get to my library. I couldn't get to the search. I couldn't browse things. I couldn't look at my wish list. I couldn't get there at all. Well, but Jim, we all do that, don't we, at times? But you know what I'm like with my tech. I can't have. Somebody had moved my cheese. Is the upshot of this? Somebody had moved my cheese. I couldn't search Audible at all. I could have got to my library and my wish list and anywhere else if I'd bookmarked it. But if I was relying on the navigation, forget it. There was none. At which point I'm cursing because I'm trying to buy stuff. And if I had a direct link to the book, which I did for some of the sale items, I could click on it and I could actually buy it, 99 pence and I'm done. But because I couldn't search, I couldn't actually get to the book that I wanted. So I'm not a happy bunny. So I vented my spleen with you, didn't I? And I shared my displeasure with poor Mike, whose ears were ringing. Yeah. And then about 30 seconds later, turned round, huffing and snorting with myself and went, "Oh, I've had an idea."
It's a light bulb moment.
It's a light bulb moment,
Bing.
it was. Jim, I believe you me, I put more than a shilling in that meter. I think the bill was over £100. But I couldn't find the book I actually wanted. At which point, this came back to me. Who knows what that is? And don't say Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
What I was doing there, clearly, was searching Audible for Harry Potter. I mean, I wasn't searching for Harry Potter, obviously, but I just put Harry Potter in there. I was searching for things like Homer's Odyssey and stuff, which the MacBiters know I really do listen to. Yes, what's that? Who knows what that is? Because that saved my bacon. Now, Mike said to me, does it do that out of the box? And sadly, no. I'd had the foresight to build it to do this before I started, which saved my bacon at this point. But that, and yours may look different than that, it's a skinnable application, it's a Mac app, and it's fantastic. It was Alfred 3 for Mac. And it worked brilliantly. It enabled me to search the Audible site when Audible was broken. Can't say fairer than that, I don't think. So, how did it do that? And I thought, that's not a bad idea to share how I did that. But then I thought, well, we've got a lot of creatives. What would they like to do with it? And that's when I thought, what if you could search for stock images from your desktop? So that is what I'm going to show you. So let's go in and actually have a look at it. Now, for the blissfully unaware, Alfred is, you may have used Quicksilver. You may have used Launchbar. You may actually use the built-in thing on Mac, which is, it'll come to me. Spotlight, that thing. Yes, never use it. Turn it off. That's what it's like. So this is Alfred. And in essence, it's very, very simple. You press Command and Spacebar or your hotkey of choice, and you start typing things in. So maybe I want to run Microsoft Word or WordPress or templates. You get the idea. I might want to run Excel. So all I have to do is activate the thing.
You never want to run Excel.
No, I never actually do want to run Excel. You're quite right. All right. There you go. Scrivener. Yay.
Affinity.
Oh, Affinity. All my Affinity toys. Oh, hang on.
2Fs.
2Fs. There we go. Oh dear, it's auto-corrected. That's how often I use it. I was just going to do that and see all my Affinity apps. Okay, so that's what it actually does. But it can do a whole lot more than that. Some things that I do with it, I'm a big fan of Countdown, so I'll be putting in, if I times that by 12, etc., so I can do maths in it. Lots of things it can actually do, but the beauty of it is it's totally extensible. And that was where I came into this. And my first thought was of how I did it, that I did it with a workflow. So across the top, you've got your options here, and there is workflows, and I have all kinds of workflows in here that I've built, that I've downloaded from places, all kinds of stuff. But it wasn't in there because I went into it and thought, right, Audible, how did I build it? And I thought, well, I didn't do that. There's nothing in there for Audible. At which point I had to go and hunt to see how I'd actually done it. You go to features instead. You have all of these features available down the left-hand side. Now, I need to mention at this point, there is a free version, I think, that gives you basic stuff. But you get more features if you have the Power Pack. And I've got the Power Pack, so I'm not actually sure. It doesn't tell me what is and isn't available in the free version. But the Power Pack's not expensive. Mike will instantly find out how much that is for me, won't you, dear? Sure. Yo, you will, because I've forgotten to log. The Power Pack is worth every penny. The workflows are all dependent on the Power Pack, and some of these features in here are. So you get the idea in here. You can search for
£23.
£23. Is that
39 for free lifetime updates?
39 for free lifetime updates was the one I went for years ago, and I've had free updates since, so that was well worth it. So you've got default results, but you can also narrow it down to searching for just files or just web searches, through bookmarks, whether you have your calculator, your dictionary, you get the idea. There's loads of stuff you can do. We're going to focus on a very narrow part of this. In the web search, it ships with all these options that you see listed here. So we've got Google. We've got Lucky on Google. No idea what that is. Don't risk it. Image search, map search, all kinds of stuff. So to give you an idea of how that actually works, if I activate that and I type maps, I can search either Google Maps or Apple Maps. Well, obviously I'm I want Google Maps. I want to find somewhere. Let me put a postcode in. So M16 ORA. Mike's going to instantly tell me where that is. I know you know where that is. It's Old Trafford. Right, so hopefully the maps will agree with me, and they'll agree it's Old Trafford. So it's opening in my browser, which I'll bring onto the screen. And woohoo, there it is. So basically, it saves me opening a browser, opening a new tab, going to the maps, waiting for it to load, and then typing in the postcode. I can actually just, one shortcut key, type maps, type the postcode, done. If you don't know the postcode, so I did this the other day, you'll laugh. Mike said to me, this is genuine, this. It was it yesterday? It was yesterday. We wanted a Chinese and they were closed. So Mike said to me, well, our favourite one was, he said, what's that Chinese called near Sainsbury's? And I had no idea. So I put in here, Sainsbury, M33, which is where we are.
That's what I did, but I was in Google Maps.
And I typed that in, and it came up, and there is Sainsbury's in Sale. Now, you might be wondering why I'm looking for Sainsbury's when what I wanted was a Chinese. Bear with me. I dragged Pegman onto the main road in Sale, outside Sainsbury's. That's the other side of the road from Sainsbury's. No, that's Magscope.
No,
Hang on, it's back.
It's there.
That's it, right there. Yeah, well, I wanted to be over there, didn't I? I wanted to be fractionally more that way. Why is this not moving for me? Come on, Pegman, shift up a bit. Oh, let me come out of Pegman. I'm on the right side of the road, but actually I wanted to be on the wrong side of the road just to see the name. So let's go over that way a smidgen. That's better. And there it is. So this is how we use Google Maps. We need to know what the Chinese is called.
We didn't go after all.
After all of that, we didn't go in the end. We eventually found the menu, but by then it was basically for breakfast. But you get the idea.
Can you place a YouTube link in Alfred?
Yes, you can. You can. In fact, you can do better than that. Why isn't my chat updating again? Oh, my chat's not updating. Mike, you'll have to look after the chat because mine's not updating. Oh, I love that. Right, can you put a YouTube link in? You can do better than that. Activate Alfred, type in YouTube. Now, obviously, I've got all of this stuff here. I've got desktop apps, but the bottom one is search YouTube for. Oh, let's say me. And do that. And there I am. And I'm live right now. Would you believe that? So if you're looking for other stuff, you could type in. So let's say, I know what you would be looking for. I know it would be Affinity Designer. Let's try an Affinity Publisher. Affinity Publisher. There we go. And if mine isn't in the top 10, I'll be peeved. Oh, I'm number 1. Happy with that. Happy with that. So yes, you can type in a search. You can type in a person. If you know the exact URL, you can just paste it in. So let's have a look at that. If that is the URL we're looking for, this is getting a bit meta now, isn't it? So I've copied the link, come out. I don't even have to type YouTube. I can just put the URL in and press enter, and it will automatically go to it. The reason I'm closing that page pretty swiftly is if that video starts playing, YouTube will think I'm
talking to yourself.
Well, no, it's worse than talking to myself. They'll think I'm ripping myself off. So I've got to stop it running. But yes, there's so much that you can do. So let's get back into the Alfred preferences in here. That was just the maps, but you've actually got translate. You can translate queries. You can open your Gmail. You can search Google Drive. You can go to Twitter. All kinds of stuff. But they are built in. They come with it. And you can choose whether they are enabled or not on the right-hand side. So if I never use Pinterest, yeah, I'm pretty clueless with Pinterest, then you just take the tick out. Simple as that. You can actually delete them, but you can just disable them, and that has exactly the same effect. So far, so good. But it was Audible we were interested in. So if I type in Audible, Harry Potter, which was what you saw in the slides, it actually goes to Audible and searches for Harry Potter. As you can see, they're in my wish list, but I haven't got them yet. Waiting for the price to drop. So that enabled me to search Audible when all of this top bit was broken. So, how did I build it? And what else have I got? Let's have a look at what else I've got first. Let's go back into Alfred. Because what I've done is the ones at the top are mine. So I've got App Shopper. Asda, obviously I don't do the shopping, but got to keep Mike on his toes. Dunelm, I'll look for those chairs again later. That's another long story. Why is it Christmas Eve everybody is buying chairs?
Because they need extra chairs for them.
It's the only day anybody sits down at a dinner table to find out they haven't got any chairs. We did have chairs, but one of them basically had a leg missing. So we sorted that out. But one I use a lot is episode guides. So at the moment in the UK, give you an idea how that one works, there is a rerun of Silent Witness, and there's 20 odd series of it. So I type EPG, episode guide, and put in Silent Witness. You'll notice no space. That's just the way the syntax for this works. And up pops an episode guide for Silent Witness. And it doesn't matter what I type in terms of programs, as long as that program exists on Ep Guides, it will bring it up. And I don't have to remember the full syntax for Ep Guides and then go in and etc. You get the idea. Another one I use all the time is App Shopper. And I use this because it's got a history of the app prices. So if I'm looking for the price of Camtasia, I put in AS for App Shopper, Camtasia, press enter, and off it toddles. And it finds Camtasia, and I click on there, and it tells me the price has never been less than $99.99. But sometimes they are. So let me have a think. Oh, what's been reduced lately? What did the one I said to you is 99p, buy it. Or $1.99, something like that. Pop Clip. Ah, brilliant. Right, Pop Clip was on offer. Right, it probably isn't now, but it was. No, it's not. Right.
The other one, along with
Pop Clip will do. If we look at this was when Mike bought it, which was when it was $1.99 on December the 24th. So how I use this, and there's Pop Clip popping up. Oh, that's better, isn't it? How I use this is if it tells me that something's the cheapest it's ever been, I go here and make sure that it is. Sometimes you'll find that they've reduced the price to $4.99, but that's because they upped the price yesterday, and the normal price is $4.99. So it keeps them honest, this does, and that's why I built that search for it. Right, let's get rid of all of those and hide that. Right, so I also have a Tesco one somewhere in here. Yes, Tesco. So what do you like from Tesco?
ice cream.
We do actually like ice cream from Tesco.
Beer.
Do you want me to put beer in or ice
Beer.
cream? Okay, I'll put beer in for Mike. And it toddles away and it searches Tesco's. And look what happens. The ones that are on offer come at the top. Oh, there's your San Miguel 12 pack. And it's on offer, 2 for $20. Daylight robbery. Daylight robbery. But you see how they work. Now, the Audible one was actually pretty simple. So here's the Audible one. I'm going to click Edit Custom Search and show you. Now, it looks terrible. It looks like, oh no, I don't want to do this. It looks complicated, but it's not. All you've got in there is a search URL. I will show you where that comes from in a second. But you also have a title and a keyword. And that's really all you need. Those 3 items alone will do it. So the title, mine actually says Audible, which isn't brilliant. That's what to show in the search results. But it works, so I'll leave it alone. But you could put search Audible, find books on Audible, because that's the title. The keyword is what activates it. And then there's the search string. And not all these search strings are the same. So if we have a look at that one, it's the URL of the site, and then it's the word search, followed by a question mark, keywords equals query. But how did I know to put that? Well, here's how. In the browser, I go to Audible and I search for a book manually. So, of course, this presupposes that the site's not already booked. So I'll search for Harry Potter. And what that gives me in the URL bar is audible.co.uk/search, question mark keyword equals. So that is the bit that I needed. And I copied it. And then I went into Alfred. And I put that in there. So I'll actually redo this one so you can see. So it's gone. I've deleted it. And then put that in. And all I need to add to that is the query term when it runs. And for that, I have this that it tells me underneath, which is a variable for it, which is curly bracket, query in lowercase, close curly bracket. And that's it. That's all I need to do to create that. So save that. You saw me delete it. Let's do it again. Audible. And who should we search for now? How about Charles Dickens? Another one of my favourites. There we go. And it works. You'll see how many of these are in my library already. Yeah, quite a few.
Steve Jobs.
I'm going to search for Steve Jobs on Audible. Right, Audible, Steve Jobs. There we go. And that one's in my library as well. Would you believe that? Never actually listened to that. That's shocking, isn't it? It was purchased a couple of weeks after he died, and I've never heard it. I know you have, but I've never got round to listening to it. The Walter Isaacson one.
I've heard a bit of it.
Never finished. So that's how it works. Now, I said that's not what we're doing, though, is it? No, that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is searching for stock images. So how do we do that? Well, one of the stock images sites is Pixabay. They have great stock images. Case in point. Now, if I go into Alfred and I start typing...
confused with Pirate Bay.
No, that's somewhere wholly different. But if I type in Pixabay, you can see I've got a search already, search Pixabay. So let's say I put in Samoyeds, my favourite dogs. It searches Pixabay for Samoyeds. Okay, how does that work? Well, the principle is identical. Absolutely identical. Let's have a look what's in Alfred. There it is, strutting its stuff, so edit that. It again has a query at the top. It has the URL and then the query, the bit in curly brackets. It has a title and it has a keyword. But I'm going to delete it. So edit the custom search and, oh no, I can just delete it. So delete. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes, because I'm going to recreate it entirely so you can see it. So let's lose that. So this is how you start completely from scratch. Add a custom search and there it is. And I know that I want to search Pixabay. So I'm going to type that in. That's just text. The keyword I'd like to use to activate it is Pixabay. Simple. Then I need the URL and I have no clue what that is because I've just deleted it. So I'll go back to my browser and I searched for Samoyed here. And I could do this manually though. So I could put in there cat. The URL at the top has the search term at the end, cat. So I'm going to copy that and go back into Alfred and paste it. And then I'm going to manually replace the search term I used, which was cat, with the placeholder for the query, which is curly bracket, query, close curly bracket. Now I'm going to do one more thing here, because at the moment, if I just save that and I run it by typing Pixabay, not great, because it's got that icon that says absolutely nothing. It's just a standard URL icon. So back into Alfred, back into edit that custom search. And in this box on the right hand side, if I drop an icon, it will have its own custom icon. So I've double clicked on there and here's an icon I found earlier. If you'd like this, I will provide the link. And I'm just going to drag and drop it into there. And that's it. Save that. The icon appears instantly in here. And if I close the Alfred window and type Pixabay, the icon appears. And this time I'll put dogs. Not just my beautiful Samoyeds, just generally dogs. And there's the search for dogs. All of the dogs. Now, one other thing that we've built. Oh, I've used him in a demo before. It's Bruno. Bruno the Burmese. Bruno, I remember him. Used him in a colour demo. One of the ones that I've created, so it might just give you an idea for something you can do just for you, is in the web search, I have here a search MacBites. And I did that by going to MacBites. So there's MacBites. I think I'm stressing this poor machine now, bless it. There's MacBites, and MacBites has a built-in search. So I could search in there for Scrivener. I'm sure we've talked about Scrivener before. And that will give me some search results. So they're coming through from the shows. Blofeld's cat, do you remember that one? And Kidnapping Craig's cat, that was another one. So we've talked about Scrivener quite a few times by the look of it. But what I'm interested in is this syntax at the top. MacBites.co.uk/? S equals Scrivener. So to create that, you should all be telling me in the chat. You should be screaming at me how easy it is. Go in and show you what that looks like. MacBites.co.uk/? S equals query. I replaced the word Scrivener with the placeholder for query. And now I've got a custom search on my own site from my desktop. And I actually do use that. I use it when I'm searching for a show that we've done something in. Instead of going to the site and loading it up and waiting, I actually use that. The icon needs updating. It's the old one. But that is how I created a search where I can search for stock images from my desktop using the venerable Alfred, which is an amazing, amazing, amazing piece of kit. So it was Alfred 3 for Mac. As I say, I'm sure there's a free version. It used to be in the App Store. It's no longer in the App Store. And there's a power pack as well. The power pack, you've got two options. You can either buy it just for this version, then pay to upgrade, or you can get a lifetime license. Now, I used to use Spotlight. Then I used Quicksilver, which sadly died. Then I used Launchbar, and I got sick of Launchbar because they never updated it. When I moved to Alfred, I did make the decision to buy the power pack, even though I thought, well, if Launchbar ever update, I might move back over there. I've never gone back to Launchbar because Alfred does absolutely everything that I want it to do. So that was Alfred and how to search your desktop for stock images. Next, we've got Mike.
Is it me?
It's you. Now, give me a second because I haven't got everything sorted out. So I'm going to go back into the desktop and get Air Server running so you can...
Oh, you connected to my machine as well?
Oh, I could do that as well, couldn't I? Right, let's get remote desktop up and have a look at Mike's machine.
We don't want to see it yet.
Do they not want to see it yet?
No.
Oh, well, I can still open it up anyway. Yeah. Right, there's your machine. Bless. Right, I'll move you out of the way. And I'll move that out of the way, and I'll get Air Server going. You're not seeing the paddling, are you? Honestly, you're not.
Have you seen the iOS remote for Alfred?
I have seen the iOS remote for Alfred. I must admit, I've not taken it anything like as far as it needs to go. I've had it on my iPad for years and my iPhone and not really done that much with it, which I really should do. I'm pressing the wrong key. That's what the matter is, you know. Right, do you want to reflect your screen and see if we can see it?
No, we can't see it. So it's looking for Apple TV.
Well, it's there. It's there and it's running. It's lying. Okay, let's have another go. Shall we try Reflector?
Maybe I've connected to next door's Wi-Fi.
Oh, there's nothing like a seamless demo, is there? And there's never anything like a seamless demo here.
No, I'm connected to our Wi-Fi.
Oh, good grief.
So I'll turn it off and on again. It's already been off once.
Well, there's no reason it's not working. Let me see if my stuff can see it, and if it can, it's you.
Right, let's reboot it.
Bless. Oh, Mike. Right, let me see if I can scream. No, it's looking for an Apple TV, so there's something wrong with it. Now, what would be wrong with it? Oh, joy, we can't see the iPad. It's all right, we can deal with this. We can deal with tech fails, despite the fact 2 apps are failing. Do you know what that could be, Mike?
No.
The fact that I need to reboot this machine and I don't reboot it because, as Graham well knows, it'll probably never come back to life.
Graham's doing it.
Because if it fails, Graham's doing the show. And Graham seemed a little bit perturbed by that thought, so I didn't reboot. But now my air thingy isn't working. But it's not a problem, Mike. We can deal with this.
We can.
We can.
Get a camera.
I can get a camera. Oh, well, then they can't see the camera on there. So, potentially it is a showstopper, this. Let me have a think how we could deal with this. Has anybody got 2 tin cans and a bowl of string? Oh, is it turned on? Well, Jim, if only. It is turned on, and it's just not having it. Air server. Come along. Come along. I wonder if we plug it in, if we could see it in ScreenFlow. Would that let us see it? Oh!
It's back.
Success, it's back. Just as I was about to give up. Right, go on. Everybody cross everything, sacrifice a chicken. Not... It's having to think about it, though. You've upset the Wi-Fi, Mike.
Me?
Oh, no. Hey, Mike's iPad.
How's it there?
Don't.
Right.
Shh. It's working. Shh.
Right.
Let me get that bigger and then leave you with it.
Okay.
Way.
Right, we're there. Shall I start now?
If you like. Would you like me to count you in?
No.
Good. Get on with it.
3, 2, 1. Right, what am I talking about? Yeah.
I often wonder.
Yeah, me too. Something that I do a lot is signing documents, specifically contracts that I get sent to me for delivering training. And most of the time, these contracts are actually PDFs. The easiest way that I've found to do this is to use PDF Expert. I know there's a number of acts. The teeth. You didn't say it.
No, I was leaving you to
Thank
it.
you.
I thought I didn't want to put you off.
I'm already put off. There's a number of apps around to do this, but as I say, the one I use is PDF Expert from Riadl.
Riedel.
Riedl. I thought it was.
No, it's Riedel.
Is it Riedl?
It's read as in I read, Riedel.
All right. Okay.
See, you learned something.
I did. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll shut up now.
You were telling me Jobs isn't Jobs next.
No, it's Job.
Job. The Book of Job.
It's the Book of Jobs.
Oh, right. Anyway, yes, as well as
He's losing it. He's losing
I'm
it.
not losing it. As well as signing PDFs, I also use PDF Expert for reading PDFs, for editing PDFs, for annotating and marking up PDFs. Shall I just talk a little bit slower?
Yeah, that might help. Yes,
Then
I think.
I won't
Calm,
trip over
breathe.
Yes.
You won't trip over you. They know you better than that.
Yes. Anyway, I'm going to take you through what I do to sign these PDF documents. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go into Mail, and I only had one mail before.
Well, now you've had another.
Yes, I tidied up my inbox deliberately.
Tidied up his inbox, he said. Look at those. Trash, 600. Important, 1,354.
Okay, so I have this this contract that's been sent to me from a guy called Mike Thomas, whoever he may be.
He's the one who has trouble with his teeth.
That's the one. I sent it to myself just for the demo. Now, what I need to do is I need to open that PDF file. So I'll tap and hold on the PDF, and it pops up there. What do you want to do with this PDF? And I'm going to choose Copy to PDF Expert. So I'll just tap on that, and that immediately takes me to PDF Expert, opens the app. The app wasn't already open, and loads in that document. So this is a contract between a training company and I need to go and fill in my name there. Now, sometimes the company will have done that, but they haven't in this instance. So I'm going to tap on the text icon, which is only over on the left, the T, and then tap where I want to type my name and put my name. There we go, and tap done. What I also want to do is to strike out some of that text. So rather than trying to write real legal blurb, because I haven't got a clue what I'd be writing, because I'm not a lawyer, I just type legal, legal, legal. But if I tap on the button with the red line, what are you laughing at?
I'm thinking that what you've written there, that's worth at least 300 quid to an average lawyer.
It's probably better than your average legal document.
Most of the ones I've seen, yes.
What was I doing? Yes, I was going to cross out some of that text that I don't agree with, because I've read through this legal document and I disagree with some of it. So
I disagree with the prices at Amazon. Do you think the same would work?
Should we try it? All right, so I'm going to tap on the strike through button with it's the one with the A and the line through it on the left. So tap on that and then just strike through. Okay. And the final thing I need to do, and this is where we're heading, is sign the document. Now, if I tap on the sign button, the signature button, it's the little fountain pen icon over on the left-hand side, that will bring me up a list of signatures. And these signatures have been set up. I'll talk about how they were set up shortly, but I'm actually going to take the one on the right-hand side. So I'm going to tap on it, and tap where I want to insert it, and it inserts it. I'm actually using my finger, but you can use the Apple Pencil, and you can just place it wherever you want it, and then just tap away, and there it is. If I want to get rid of it, I will just tap and tap on delete. Okay. What are you saying there?
It's McJimmy says, is it always this slick?
Of course it is. Of course it is. All right, now those two signatures, if I actually just go back to the signatures, those two signatures are actually stored in iCloud, because PDF Expert, there's a desktop version, there's a Mac version, there's an iOS version, and the two synchronize with iCloud. And I actually created those two signatures on the Mac version. I'll show you how to create them on here in a second. But the great thing is, once you've synchronized the signatures, you can then use them on the desktop version, or you can use them on the iOS version. So what I'll do is I'll tap on that pen icon again. I'll tap on create new signature. And before I actually sign, I will just change the thickness of the pencil, which is up there, make it a little bit thicker. I have to use my finger to do that. And then, for some reason, the pen's not working.
Have you plugged it in?
That's probably because I had to reboot the device.
Yeah.
Should we try it again?
No, you don't need to do that. Just plug it in.
Sometimes I've got to go to Bluetooth
No.
and repair it.
No.
I've
Put it in.
once.
Put it in there. Go back into it. You weren't in there.
I wasn't in there, was I?
No, come here. You were in there.
PDF Expert.
That actually hasn't come up with a message, but try it anyway.
That's better.
Whey!
Right, okay, so I'm going to sign now. I'm going to put iPad at the bottom so we know it's an iPad one. Tap on save at the top, and it's now added it to my library, so I can add that one in if I want to. Or I can delete it if I want to. I'm not going to delete it right now. I'm going to just add it in, and there we go. Once I've done that, I then need to go back to my list of documents. I would probably resend this back to the company, so I can do that, but I actually now want to drag it into iCloud, the whole document, because at the moment the document's just sitting in the documents folder on my iPad. You can see up at the top. So if I just literally drag and drop this this file here over to iCloud, there it is. And if I go to iCloud, it should have appeared. There it is. It's just appeared within the PDF Expert folder within iCloud. Okay, so if you can bring up my desktop, you can go to Remote Desktop and bring up my Mac. If you go into the PDF Expert folder, the top one.
Which one?
The top one.
That's another story.
It is another story for another day, I think.
On.
There is the file. If you just open that file, that should open in PDF Expert. There you can see all the changes that have been made. And if you go up to Annotate, click on Annotate on the menu.
It already is.
Bring up the list of signatures then. You can now see those three signatures have appeared on the right hand side, because even though that one that is selected was created on the iPad, it's now available on the iPad or the desktop. So that is how I sign PDF documents on either the Mac or on the my iOS device.
It's almost seamless.
It is seamless.
Yeah, when AirServer plays ball, it's actually pretty seamless.
Yeah.
One thing that wasn't obvious when we started doing it was getting the thing into iCloud.
No. I struggled with that. You showed me just drag and drop it.
But it was mainly, it wasn't logical to me. It was just, okay, that doesn't work. How would Apple probably make it work? And then you just think, well, maybe select and drag and drop.
They should come with instructions, really.
Instructions, do you remember them?
Yeah.
I remember them when I was young. It was a while ago.
Any questions? Have we got any questions?
I'm not sure my chat. Well, I think my chat's working because McJim's talking to me, which is always good. But I'm not seeing any questions on that.
McJim's just posted.
Why is it not coming through here?
I don't know, but the rest of them are posted.
Oh.
I know you can copy and paste that signature, but when you sign a document with the PDF as you show, how secure is it against someone using your signature for nefarious reasons?
That is a really, really good question.
It is. You're the legal eagle.
Well, no, what McJim means is, can you extract that signature and put it on another document? Because if you think about it,
you could screenshot it.
You could screenshot it if you can see it.
Yeah.
But only in terms of, if you think about, if you send somebody a letter, they too could scan your signature and put it on another one. So about as secure as I guess it would be if you'd signed a document. I'm thinking of a client I had whose personal assistant wanted to be able to sign letters on his behalf, and he signed a piece of paper with a black biro, and she said it just doesn't look real, and I wanted it to look real when I printed it out. And I said, well, change the black to blue. So I changed this signature from black to blue, and it looked like a blue biro, and it looked more real than the original one did. So you can't really stop anybody doing that, but you wouldn't be able to even if it was on a piece of paper. Other than that, you're pretty knackered, aren't you, if you think about it?
Yeah.
I don't think anything... There is a procedure that you might be thinking about, which is when you use Adobe Acrobat, there is a signing procedure where you have a certificate, and that is secure. That's the kind of signature that you get if you send up a VAT return or a tax form. But that's a completely different business, and there's no way you would be able to do it on an iPad. It's like horrible and messy, isn't it?
DocuSign's another similar one.
It's on a totally different level. This is really just for doing that.
When I did my loan for a camera, I've done similar things. Signing
pretty much the Amazon man at the door. The Amazon man at the door just shoves something at you and you just scribble at it, and that's enough for them. Yeah,
going back to DocuSign, there are some contracts that I sign that are not PDFs that do go through an official system. DocuSign's probably the most common one. There are others, but literally you type your name into a box and it uses a pre-configured handwriting looking font, and you just get a signature which isn't your signature.
Acrobat have been doing that for at least 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. But it is messy, and it's very reliant on operating system and specific version of the software. And of course, there's PDFs and there's PDFs. Some PDFs could be scans of documents. Other PDFs are active forms that calculate and stuff. So not all PDFs are equal. I think the only thing we can say is we can't worry about it because it's so common these days. That's just accepted, and it's an accepted risk. I sign documents like that. I'm not overly concerned. When somebody shoves something at me to sign, I tend to do it with my finger, and I don't worry that it doesn't look anything like my signature, because then I can say, well, obviously that doesn't look anything like my signature. I do try and be more careful if it's a legal thing. But the world's changing, and we've just got to basically change with it. I do think the signatures that are in PDF Expert are pretty good because you're using the pen. You do have a couple of other options to get signatures in there. You can actually take a photo of a signature, which you were going to mention.
I think that's what I did with my...
But it does look very good. If you did that... No, I don't think you did. I had an iPad with a pencil, and I remember giving it to you. And the problem we had was how to get the signature out of my version of PDF Expert into yours. But I can't remember how we did it, but we did it in the end. So it proves it's possible for somebody to whip it if they've got an editable version. Very, very good question. Where do you stand legally with PDF signatures? It depends on if someone will accept it or not. So if I'm buying something from somewhere and they want a purchase requisition and I send them that, if they will accept it, then that's fine. It's binding. If they won't accept it, it has to be a pen, then it's not. It's literally as practical as that. What I've noticed is I'm a governor at a local school, and they are swines for sending you a bundle of documents that weighs about 4.5 stone, and it drops through the door and there's 230 pages, and can you read it by Friday? And in there is statements of interest and training requirements, and you have to sign them. And I've been saying for a couple of years, can I just sign this on the iPad and send it back? And he's like, no, it's got to be printed out. So I go to a meeting and I haven't got a printout of these documents. I've got PDFs. So they have to provide me with a printed copy, and then I have to sign it with a biro, and I never have one of those either because I've got my Apple Pencil, and then give it in. And I noticed the last couple of times they've said that they've updated their procedures and they're accepting a PDF signature. So now I've got my bundle of documents on my iPad. I flip to the page out of the 250 pages that are there. I sign it with my Apple Pencil, and then I tap on... Now, I'm actually using GoodNotes, but PDF Expert doesn't matter. Same kind of thing. I tap on send, and I said, I just put send this page, and I attach it to an email with my signature on it, and off it toddles. And it's accepted.
I had to sign some meeting minutes a couple of weeks ago with a pen because they were printed out.
Gosh.
And I had to say to somebody, can I borrow a pen? Because I've got this £100 pencil, but I can't sign a piece of paper with it.
I know. At the beginning of these governor meetings, it was like, well, everybody just had a pen. And then it was like, well, you can't do that with a computer and you can't do that with an iPad. And they watched me and they're like, could we have some lessons in how you do that? Because I'm annotating these notes.
Because an iPad's just for watching Netflix and things.
Do you know, I have actually had that said to me. And then they watched me with it in a meeting. At the last meeting, I was making notes. I was taking the minutes for the meeting. So I actually had an iPad sat there and I was doing it with the pencil. So I'm in GoodNotes and I'm writing the minutes because it's just quicker than typing. But obviously, I needed to make reference to the 250-page document they'd sent me. So the person next to me who had a printout said, I'll share with you. And I looked over to him and I said, no, it's fine. And I actually had two iPads with me, one for making the notes on and one for reading the notes. And he just sat there gobsmacked. Like, you're using two iPads. Yeah, and it works. I know I could split the screen, but I need more space when I'm actually taking minutes because I don't miss anything. So
I was going to say PDF Expert, by the way, for the desktop, it's £78, but there is currently £30 off if anyone's interested, and it's £10 for the iOS version. If you go to pdfexpert.com, you can get all the details.
It is actually a very, very good app. When it came out, I think it was on offer for like, in fact, let's do it. Let's do it. I can
you know what I need?
Go into here, PDF Expert.
You know what I need?
Go on.
A Windows version. Unfortunately, they don't make it.
No, there has been talk about that. Here we go, $79.99 at the moment. And if we go all the way back, look at this.
Oh, are we on a dollar-pound one-to-one relationship?
Pretty much, yes. Yes.
Or is that just the Apple?
So it went down to $29.99 in August. But if we go back to the beginning, version 2, I certainly didn't pay that. What happened is I must have paid version 1. I must have got version 1. And I got it for about £10. But you can get £30 off that price today. Michael, find the link and put it in the chat. No, they won't give you that price. Is it the offer from them? Yeah. Oh, right, the offer's from them. In that case, you might be able to get it even cheaper than that.
That's where I found the...
It is very, very, very good value. It really is. And it's a fantastic app. Okay, let's get that on the other screen and let's get back to where we were, because I've got a sneaking suspicion I'm doing something technical next. Oh, so that was PDF Expert.
Ooh, the teeth.
The teeth. I've got the teeth. He's giving me the teeth. Right. Next, it's back to me. Back to me. This was a real requirement I had, and I thought, how difficult can it be to rename some files? A rhetorical question. It wasn't good. Right. I'll show you the files that I needed to have renamed. All right. And let's see what you make of them. Because technically, I felt this was something that should be simple. It wasn't. Have you finished sharing your iPad, etc.?
Yeah, get out of me, Mac.
I'm trying to close things down before this poor machine melts. So I'll close down that and I'll get to my desktop and show you that I have got some files here, my renaming files, my demo. There we go. Files. These are the actual files that I had. And they're from an app called Recorder by Lynn Fay. And hello, Kevin. I don't think the YouTube chat works like that, but we know who you are. Good to have you with us.
Slash Nick.
Slash Nick changes your nickname in IRC. Oh, bless Mike, he doesn't know that.
I don't do IRC.
Neither do I. You can always catch up later, Kevin, with all the, what would you say, organised chaos that tonight has so far been. But we're talking about renaming files, and I'm saying these were files that I had from my recorder app on iOS from Linfay Pro Recorder Pro. Fabulous app, and I had all of these files, and I needed to rename them because if you look at them, they're not in the right order. I wanted them in date order. And I thought, well, how difficult can that be? Obviously, they're in day order, followed by month alphabetically, followed by year, followed by time. And I looked and I thought, well, what exactly syntax do you want it? And I thought, well, I have what I call a sort date. So I want the year at the beginning, followed by the month as a number, followed by the day, followed by an underscore, followed by the time, with no underscores in it. Don't want the at either. Is that easy to do? Have a ponder about that. Is there anything I could do about that? The first thing that came to my mind was I could just use the date and time that the file was created and do it that way. Take that in the format I wanted and apply it. Was there a problem with that? Well, you'll notice I said the date and time that it was created, but I could only seem to get to the date it was modified. And I don't want the date it was modified, I want the date that it was actually recorded. So I didn't feel it was safe to rely on that. So what else could I do? And I'm looking at that file name and I'm thinking you've got everything you need there, you just need to shuffle it around a bit. So do we think that's easy? Just to show you renaming files, so let's go into Name Mangler. Renaming files doesn't have to be difficult. Let's try a sequence. Let's try by number. Let's start at photo. And we'll have 3 digits. And we'll drag and drop these files in. And what we see on the right hand side is the new file name. Now that's not very neat. I'd like an underscore between the photo. Dead simple. Absolutely dead simple. But I don't want them named sequentially. I want to use elements of the existing file name in the new file name. And that's where it all got technical. I had to sit down and think, what exactly do I need to happen here? So let's have a look at that. What did that look like? And I'm going to use an app called A Better Finder Rename. The reason I'm not using Name Mangler, I will explain later. But this is an example of the file name that I was looking at. So I've got 14 space Feb space 2018 space at space 09 underscore 03 underscore 33. The first thing I thought I wanted to do was get the year at the beginning of it. So very, very simple. Grab those 4 digits and move them to the beginning. The second thing I'd need to do is what? Well, you could do this in virtually any order, but I decided to be practical with it and try and limit the number of steps that I needed. So if the name was at the beginning, the next thing I needed to do was move the Feb to between the year and the day. So let's assume we can do that. That left me with that. Now, do I need to move the 14? Have a think about that. I thought about it, but then I thought, actually, no, because it's in the right order. It's just not quite in the right place. And the only reason it's not in the right place is that there are spaces in this file name. And I decided at that point that those 3 spaces didn't need to be there. So my next step was to take away the spaces. Then I was left with that at. And I thought, well, I don't want an at between the date and the time. I want an underscore. Would it be a wise idea to put an underscore in there? What do you reckon, Mike? I don't want the at, I want an underscore. Search and replace for the at, replace with an underscore, which I very nearly did. But I stopped myself, luckily. And there are a number of ways of doing this. This is just the way I chose. I decided not to put an underscore in because at a certain point I was going to do a search for the underscores and delete them because I don't want the other two. So I decided to just take the at away. And that left me with just, well, I've still actually got quite a bit of work on this. It left me with the two underscores, which was dead simple. I just did a search and replace and deleted them. Which left me needing to add an underscore to the middle. This isn't complicated, it's just a lot of steps. But it's a practical example because these files came from an app. So once I'd inserted that underscore, I ended up with that. And I was pretty much good to go. Apart from one thing. Which was February. What was I going to do with February? What would you have done, Mike?
Change it to 02.
So do a search and replace, find FEB and replace with 02. That would work. Except when? When it's March or April or May. So what I decided to do was, I thought about it and thought, yeah, this is doable. It's actually doable. But you need a lot of steps because what you need to do is that. You need to search for Jan, replace it with 01, Feb, replace with 02, March, replace with 03, etc. It looks way more complicated than it is. So let's actually have a look about doing it and changing these names. Name Mangler is very, very good. But short of writing code, I couldn't get it to do this easily. Which was why I decided to have a go with a Better Finder rename. Now this is a Better Finder rename, and handily, this is one I blue-petered earlier. I've not done anything else with Finder rename, but what I am going to do is add a step at the bottom and show you what it can do. You first of all choose a category, so it would be text or characters, positions, conversions, all kinds of stuff here. So let's say I wanted to name these in a sequence of numbers. Produce a sequence number with a prefix of image, underscore, and then you do all of that. You can sort them, you can change the step value, so you could have image 10, 20, 30, 40. It's incredibly powerful. All you need to do in each step is fill in this dialogue bit in the middle. And it really is that simple. So I'm going to take that step away and go right back to the beginning. I chose from in here character positions and ranges. And then I'll be honest with you, I struggled because I needed to go into here and think, what is it you're actually trying to do, woman? And what I needed to do was move the characters 2018 in this case, which is at position 7, which is what this is showing you down here. I'm thinking to text position, yeah, and the 11 was the end of it. So those are the 4 characters. So starting at 7 and stopping at 11, move it to the beginning. Now to see this in action, I'm going to drag and drop these files into the action window. And we'll have a look at each step that was needed. So let's get that out of the way. Tidy it up. Right. So step 1. Take the 4 characters. Take the characters between 7 and 11 and move them to position 0. And this over on the right hand side shows you exactly what will happen. This step will take 2018 and move it to the beginning. And what you've got there, where you've got the little arrow between them, is this particular step will take it this far. So it'll be 2018 01 space April space at etc. And that's perfect. The next thing I needed to do was to move April to the other side of the day. So basically, I needed to move the characters. Now, where were they at this point? And what you've got to be careful of when you're doing this is that those characters, A, P, R, won't be at position 4. They will be at the new position, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, actually, it's 7. So if I move on to the second step, I said move them from position 7 to 10 and move them to position 4, which it shows you here moves APR next to the date. Fantastic. My next step, if you remember, was taking the spaces away. So what I did in here was say remove each space, just delete the whole lot. And what you get in your preview is 2 spaces being removed in the middle, 1 space after the at, so altogether 3 spaces are going to go away. And that leaves you with this bit. I can't actually touch that, unfortunately. Oh dear. What did you just do there? I'm sure I didn't want you to do that, but never mind. Can I undo that? I'm not sure. Let me have a look. Spaces. Oh, that should be all right. Should be all right, that. So that one will remove all of the spaces. So let's go on to the next bit. And if you remember, the next bit was find all the AT text, the at, and remove it. And that's why it's got a line through it underneath. The next bit was getting rid of all the underscores. So again, very, very simple. I'm just going in, text, remove, tell it what to remove. And underneath here, we can see the underscores have gone. Next step. I needed to insert an underscore between the date and the time. So it was category text, insert text at position, put an underscore in. And I was doing quite nicely at that point. Then came, it's not tricky, it's exactly what you've seen already. It's just that, as we move down into it, there's 12 of them. So the first one, text, replace text, find JAN, replace with 01. It won't do anything if it doesn't find it. So looking at these over here, March, February, April, keep going. None of those are doing a thing. Keep going until you find one that is January. I hope I've got a January one. I haven't got a January one. Well, let's move on to February because I've definitely got a February one. And what you see here is the ones that are lit up are the ones that are actually going to remove things. So there's a few there for February. Exactly the same thing for March. Text, replace March with 03. And I just carried on all the way through April, May, June, all the way through to December. There's a lot of steps in that rename. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to delete all these because I think what I did was I removed one. So I'm going to bring them back in and add them to that window. And you will be added to that window. There you go, all 48 of you. Away we go. And what I need to do now to rename them, so I'll bring them back in so you can see them, is hit that Perform Renames button at the bottom, down here. And it goes away and it renames them. And each one is renamed exactly as I wanted. Year at the front, month in the middle, day then, underscore, and then the time. So these files were transferred manually from my iOS device and then run through this renamer. Now, obviously, I am not going to want to, in here, create that every single time I need to make some changes to files. But I do transfer the files from my iOS device repeatedly. So this is where I better find a rename comes in brilliantly well. I can go up to File and I can save a droplet, create droplet. A droplet being a little application. So if I call this rename audio files, because that's what it actually does, and put it on my desktop and close Better Finder. There is the application, massive air quotes. It's really a configuration setting. Now, obviously, those files have been renamed, but I have another set. I do. There's my original files. So what I can do is I can double click that and it will create another set of original files with the original dates. And what I can do with those imagine this is the second, third, fourth, fifth time I've transferred files from my iOS device, is to drag them and drop them straight onto that droplet. It will strut its stuff quietly, silently. Doesn't even open the app, and it will rename those files. So although it took a little bit of thinking about at the beginning, and it took me a little bit of time to actually build the, I'm going to say script, but it's actually more configuration settings. Once I've got them and I've tested them and it works, I save it out as a droplet and I'm good to go. Saves such a lot of time. Now, what do you do if you find it used to work, but now they've changed how they name it, and I've already created this thing over here? Well, luckily, you can open it. And when you open it, it opens it, and it says you're now editing the settings saved within that droplet. So open it up, and any changes I make in here now will be written back to that when I hit save. So really, in essence, it's just this thing is like saving a file in Word. But I don't need to open it to use it. I can actually drag and drop files onto it, and then it becomes an application and it runs in itself. So I thought that would be quite useful for audio files like I do, but also images, because you may have edited images and you don't really want to go backwards. Now, let's have a look. If you find after conversion you've made an error, can you revert? That's a really good question, McJim. You might have noticed that in Name Mangler, let's drag and drop these files on here, because I use the two of these interchangeably. There is a history up the top, and you can go backwards. I'd say with these, possibly not, because you've actually run it and it's converted it. Let's have a look if the Finder would undo. No, it's not converting it. But here's a trick for you. McJim, here's a trick. Let me think. Right, I'm going to need the original files again. This is something that, let me open up these original files. So I've got another folder with the original files in. Let me have a think. You could do exactly what I'm doing here, which is these files look like they're audio files, but I've cheated. Not cheated in a way that affects whether it will work or not. I've cheated insofar as, look at the size of them. Each one's 4K. The originals weren't, I can assure you. 4 bytes, yes, 4 bytes, even smaller than that. The originals were a couple of gig. And for my demo, I didn't want to have to transport around and be zipping and unzipping files of hundreds and hundreds of gigs. So what I tend to do is this. I'm trying to think of a quick way of showing you what I do. Let's say in here. Yes, that'll work. Right, okay, let me show you that. These were the files. These were the original names. Of course, your only problem is they're going to be in a different order, aren't they? Oh, you put me on the spot there. I'm pondering. You can kind of go backwards. I'll show you what you can do, and then we'll have a think and see if it would actually do what you wanted. But how I created these files for this demonstration was basically I had one file like that, and the file was actually, that won't play, it's not an audio file. Oh, stop it. Right, that was just a text file. So let's say I had that and it was a text file, and I changed the extension, and then I wanted to build up my files. So renaming demo. All right, files rebuild, and this was how I did it. I think it's in there. There we go. What I did was find the original files, and I Command and A, Command and C. Now you might be wondering, what on earth are you copying that lot for? Because I'm copying the files. But I'm going to go into a text editor. Let's get that across there and back again. I've got all kinds of things in there. Let's get a blank window, which is just a text editor. And if I paste them in there, I get the file names. Hold that thought. So I'm going to save that to my desktop. I'm going to call it file names, txt. So I've got a safe copy of the file names. Looks fiddly, but it's not. Now you know that I've just renamed those files. They are in files. I renamed them. If I want to rename them back, I think I used Name Mangler for this. It was easier. And what I did was I dragged and dropped all those files into the window down there. And I went into here and said sequence. Did I say sequence? Or did I say compose? Can never remember which one of these. It wasn't compose, it must have been something. What I look for in here is arbitrary terms. Now that to me is a stupid way of wording it. What it means is you can go out and choose a file that contains a list of file names and import them. And then in there I get a whole list of them. Don't want a prefix. And you can see it will rename them to that. Now the problem here is, you may have seen the problem to start with. They're now not sorted in the order they were. So to do what you want to do, you'd need to let me have a rare old think about it for longer. But if you save the file names as they are, I would say yes, you could. Because when you drag them in here, it says sort by name. I would change that to sort by one of the dates. Get them back to where they were and then do it that way. For speed, I'm just going to show you that I can now click there and that will rename them back. You'll notice in here as well, I do have a revert button. The reason that I'm using Find a Renamer is it's easy to do the complicated stuff of shuffling the terms from right to left, etc. In here, I think you'd have to do it with an advanced thing and create a script. And I hadn't had the time to create a script for it because the other one's got an interface to do it. But if I had, then I could have gone back and redone that. It would appear now I have done that. I cannot go back. So let's go to sequence. Yes, I can revert. So in there, I can actually revert. So if we go back, they're named and they're actually turning back. So what I'm going to take from that, McJim, is that it's a challenge for me to do exactly what I did in Find a Rename in Name Mangler so we can revert. I shall take that as a challenge. Mike, make a note. It's my challenge for the week. But for me, that saves me so much time when I'm playing around with these audio files. It's unbelievable. So I thought that was worth showing you. Right, let's have a look in here. Where were we heading next? Yeah, so that was a better Find a Rename. I got a lifetime license for that a while back, and it was something like £20, I think. I've had a look, and a better Find a Rename is now £20, and a lifetime license is £40. But it's one of those things that I use Name Mangler more, but when I need something specific like that, or I want to create a droplet and send it to a client so they can rename files with it, I do use a better Find a Rename. You can never have too many tools, I find. Now, Affinity. Yes, we went to a concert. I have images and I need to edit them. So let's have a look at Affinity Photo 1.7 beta and I'll explain why I'm in the beta. Here are my images. Bjorn again. It was an ABBA tribute. It was fabulous. I've taken just 12 images. Believe me, on the night, there was nearly 600. What can I say? Love ABBA. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous concert. And front row tickets. It was brilliant. So what I've done with them is literally just grab a few. It was a brilliant night. And what I'm going to do is just show you a couple of things that I went through, the process I went through with these images to make them even better. They were taken, because I know people like to know, they were taken on my iPhone 7. And that was it. I had no special lighting, no special privileges, no special place. They were just taken on my iPhone. I was rather pleased with them. Especially considering I was in the middle of watching the Strictly final during the break, and my said iPhone was blazingly hot. But it coped, bless it. So, pretty decent to start with. It's really just removing blemishes and tightening up some of them. I felt some of them would be great if they're a little bit tighter. And what I decided to do on the night was go wide, because if I'd have used the 2x zoom, my problem with it was the people were getting very close to the edge. I'm not sure if I've got any here that are close to the edge. That would have been a problem. I would never have got the skull on the stick. I know you're thinking ABBA, skull on a stick.
Don't ask.
Benny was brilliant, actually, wasn't he? He was fabulous. He was in the middle there of doing a tribute to Van Halen's Jump, and he was fantastic. His little skull had red eyes, and I'll be enhancing those because the photo didn't do it justice, basically. But I did take them fairly wide. Oh, you can see the red eyes on there, can't you? So really, it was just a few images that I thought I could do something with. And these are raw. It's frightening, isn't it? These are actually as they came out of the camera. So we did have very, very good seats. But you can see with that one I'd zoomed in, with that one I didn't. So I'd want to crop that to get rid of it. And change the lighting. Change the lighting. So thank you, Curtis. I was very lucky. It was Mike found these tickets a couple of weeks before we went, didn't you? And it was one of these venues where you basically get there early and make a dash for the front. And we did. And we got the last 2 places at the front. I would definitely go again. It was an amazing, amazing night. It's the 3rd time we've seen an ABBA tribute this year. And I think they were the best, weren't they? I think so. I think they were. It was more of a concert atmosphere because it was inside. We've done one outside and we did one at a local venue. But as I say, nothing special, just taken with my iPhone. I wasn't about to try and get a big camera in. I wasn't attempting anything else. I did take a little bit of video, but mainly it was just images like that. So I've picked a few to be getting on with. And this was the first thing that caused a problem. Yet again, they are high efficiency formats that I've got off my phone. And the first problem with that is that Affinity Photo, we talked about this when we looked at batch processing, but it won't even open it. So if I try and open it, I get an error. It's not a supported file type in anything but the very latest beta. Thank you, McJim. That's very kind of you. It was a good night. Oh, it was a good night. What I really should have done was take photos and video of Mike singing to Dancing Queen. But I'll just leave that image there hanging for you. Yeah. So the problem with Affinity Photo, without the beta, it won't open them. Now I do have one that's a JPEG. So I'm going to do that because we're going to revisit this version of Affinity very soon. So that at least will open it. But the ones I wanted to edit were high efficiency and it wouldn't. So instead of opening it in Affinity Photo, I'm right clicking and I'm going to open it with the Affinity Photo 1.7 beta, which has no problem at all with high efficiency images. Do bear in mind at this point you are editing your originals, which might not be the best idea you have ever had. Now what I do with some of these is start off simple. That one could do with a crop. Because while Bjorn and Agneta are looking lovingly at each other, Benny and Frida not so much. They look bored to tears. So I would probably crop that down this way and make it much tighter just on the 2 of them and lose some of this at the bottom and focus on the lighting. So that would be my first thing. Might take that even tighter, not too sure. That one doesn't need much in the way of getting removing anything. I could certainly add things to it, but it certainly doesn't need much in the way of anything removing. Some of the others did. So let's have a look at some of the others that need things removing from them. Let's find the one that needed. Oh, no, we're moving up to that one. That one was lighting and stuff. That would probably be a crop and the lighting changing. And that one was lighting. So where's the one that needs something removing? That was the one that I took stuff off. So let's get that opened in the Affinity Photo beta. As you've said, I mean, you've been very kind and said, like, you know, that there's not much wrong with them. No, there's not much wrong with them. But there are little things that you can do. So I'm going to add a repair layer. If you were with us last time, you'll know how I did that so quickly. And I'm going to make some changes to this and get rid of these things on the floor. There's also 2 water bottles. How dare they? So let's try and get rid of those as well, just really to tidy it up. Oh, Graham, I hope she's okay. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. An old Fuji fine pitch, nothing opens the raw. Yeah, that's a point, but I'm wondering, that sounds like, is that a newer one, McJim? That Fujifilm, or is it an older one? I'm thinking maybe the DNG converter. The Adobe DNG converter, which is cheap. Well, free. Never mind cheap, it's free. That's a possibility. Try PicSave. That might do it. Or Adobe Bridge. You have to pay for Adobe Bridge. Forget that. Scratch that. If you've got Adobe Bridge, you could try it. Try PicSave. Just see if it works. So, first thing I need to do here, I've got my repair layer. I need the inpainting tool, which is available from somewhere on the left-hand side. But, first tip, if you press the J key 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it takes you in there. She said that's not it. That's not what I'm looking for at all. Let's try that again. Why did that not work? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. That's not taking me at all where I want to be. It does in the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 looks okay. So let's have a look if that. No, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's not what I'm looking for at all. Ah! Oh, what's she doing? Oh, Silky Picks. Not heard of that one. Not heard of that one.
When did I get that?
Oh, that Fuji was a while ago. A while ago. A long, long time ago. I think I've made some changes here that have upset it greatly. So I'm going to go down here and choose the inpainting brush and be done with it. RAF files, yes. Right, so I'm in the inpainting tool. I was right in the first place. Okay, first thing I need to do, choose current layer and below if I want to get rid of these. And then it's a case of being as tight as possible, but including some surround. So if I just want to get rid of that, go a little bit wider than you actually need. And then it really is a doddle. I actually said to Mike earlier tonight, if you gave me 10 minutes, I could teach you how to use this and you'd be as good as me. I was being generous, obviously. Right, so I'm drawing across there, all the way across, and over that bit at the bottom. And take it out. Not bad at all. And you can take that to the nth degree if you want. So it didn't look bad before, but without it, it looks better. So if we look at that before and after, much better. There was a little bit of the floor on that side, and these are really, really easy repairs. All I'm doing is just drawing over them. Really easy repairs. Might have been an idea with these photos to actually take a camera that was capable of true RAW. But I was working on the principle on the front row with the photographer, the official photographer in front of me. He'd be a bit peeved. And I think the phone coped admirably. I am, of course, 2 major revisions of the iPhone behind, and I believe the newer phones are even better in low light. So that might be fabulous. I don't know. So you've got the iOS version. Is this Silky Pix or Affinity Photo? Which are you talking about that you've got the iOS version of? Right, so we've got these bottles to deal with. A little bit more complicated. I had a dabble with this, just drawing around it, getting enough of the edge so it knows what it is you're trying to remove, and it can distinguish it from what you're trying to keep. And boom, the bottle disappears. I have no idea what that is, so we'll have that gone as well as this bottle and whatever that is over there. And draw around the bottle. See, I'm leaving enough distance so it knows what I'm actually trying to remove, and then filling in the solid bit. Affinity Photo. Have you seen my Affinity Photo videos, McJim? I've done 2, I think, on Affinity Photo for iPad. Not bad at all. Just need to do that bit, and it's gone. And you would never know they were there. You would never know they were there. So let's toggle that on and off. Bottles and no bottles. So that's sorted that out. Let's have a look. It doesn't look like it actually needs that much more. It might benefit from a crop. What I thought was it could do with it being a smidgen more punchy. So I'm in my Affinity Photo beta for the single reason that it opens the high efficiency format. And I do something I do all the time, which is go into the adjustments and choose levels. And I went, whoa, when did that happen? Now, what am I talking about? Well, this dialog box is my levels dialog box. And if you are familiar with Affinity Photo for desktop, either Windows or Mac, and you look at that, you might notice a difference, which is the dialog box is a whole lot bigger. Let's have a look. Here is the Affinity Photo not beta version. Let's do the same with that and go into adjustments and choose levels. Well different. Well different. Let's do a comparison of the two of those. That gives me a picture of that. If you're wondering how I did that, it's an app. So this is now a photo. It's not live. It doesn't do a thing. It's a photo. And the reason it's there is because I want to do a comparison with that one. Right. So there they are. Old one on the left, new one on the right. So we've got the output black levels and the output white levels in the same dialog box. We also have a completely different histogram up here where it's actually showing you the colours in it, the RGB values in there, as well as the black and white. So I think that is a big, big improvement, a huge improvement. So let's get this out of the way by double clicking it. And what I tend to do is boost the black a little bit. So take it down a little bit and then take the white in a little bit. So narrow it down. And okay, that we toggle that on and off. It's subtle, but it's just got a little bit more contrast in it. The lighting at the top is a little bit punchier. Obviously, you can go crazy with this and you can take it right in if you want it over garish. You can posterize it. Maybe at a concert, you do want the lighting to be over effusive. For me, I'm looking for more natural than weird. But if it's a cover for a magazine, weird might do. The next thing I usually do is go in and adjust the curves, which was when I went in and went, whoa, okay, because that's changed as well. So let's go into the non-beta version and see that one. That was levels. Let's go into curves. Now we're in the wrong app. Hang on a minute. Come on. There we go. And into there and into curves. Black and white. And the difference really does hit you. So let's take a screenshot of that and leave that in the middle of the screen so we can do a comparison with this one. Very, very similar in terms of what it does. Let's get them next to each other. Just the fact that you can see and visualize the color in the dialog boxes. So these have been rewritten entirely for 1.7, the beta of 1.7. So let's get rid of that. Double click to get rid of it. And I tend to put a gentle S-curve on it. That does usually improve it. I've got to be very careful with the lighting on this. It would be very easy to go crazy with it. But what I do is I select the two, toggle them on and off, a little bit punchier, a little bit livelier. But I'll show you something else that you could do. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying you could do. And in images like this, where there's a lot of lighting involved, you absolutely could. You have filters in here. And some of the filters, we go down, let's get out of there. We need to be on the image, the background of the image. You've got all kinds of colours in here. Does the beta have a digital asset management system? It doesn't, McJim, because they're building a new one. They are building basically Affinity Lightroom. Don't quote me on the name. But I have no idea when it's coming out. Not even a sniff of a line of code at the moment. But that's the promise. So in here, you've got all these filters. Now, the thing to remember with these filters is have a look at them. Try them. Get used to them. And then ignore them. Because these filters, it's lighting I'm looking for, they will change pixels. They are not non-destructive. They are completely destructive. So stay away from them. Go into layers instead. And in there, we want a new live filter layer. And from there, we can choose lighting. It's critical to do that for what I intend to do with this. Because if it's destructive, there's nothing you can do. You can't retrospectively change it. And you certainly can't change blend modes and generally fiddle with it, which is what I intend to do. So I'm going to choose layer, new live filter layer, lighting filter. And it gives me this lighting thing here to play around with. There's a spotlight. The spotlight going up. So maybe there's a light off stage. Now you'll notice at this point something weird's happening. Who can tell me what is weird and that we wouldn't want? While I play around with this lighting filter, you tell me what's weird and that we wouldn't want. We definitely wouldn't want it. But I can have the light going up, I can have the light coming down, I can change the colour of the light, and I can move the whole thing around. I had a play around with it and I thought it would look quite nice to take the lighting up to the light above her head. And you can move it like that, But I wanted that to stay there, take that up a bit. So it's really a case of playing around with it, narrowing it down. And everything that you do in here, as you're doing it, as I'm stretching that out, outer cone, this outer cone slider's moving. So if you're a dialog box person and you'd rather do it in there, you can. There's the inner cone, which is that bit in the middle. You can see the two moving. You can change the direction here. That actually turns it round. You can stretch it up. You can bring it in. You can do all kinds of things with it. Isn't it scary? If that hat there was a light, it would look like that. So let's bring it round to the top there. We want to do something like that with it, but I actually probably do want to move it. Is Affinity Lightroom going to be part of Affinity Photo or standalone? I believe standalone, from what I've heard. They are treating it in terms of a separate application. They might put a cut-down version in it. If you think back, that's how Bridge started. Traditionally, Photoshop didn't have any kind of digital asset management at all. But Paint Shop Pro did on Windows. It had what it called a file browser, and it was fantastic. When I used to take my screenshots and have them in a folder for my training materials, I could have 500 in a folder. It was really the only way to know which ones I was editing. And I really missed it in Photoshop, and because of that, I never edited a screenshot in Photoshop. I needed this file browser that was in Paint Shop Pro. Photoshop realised that, and they built in a file browser. And a couple of versions later, it got so heavy and so fully featured that they extracted it and called it Adobe Bridge. So they might put a slightly cut down version in Affinity Photo to tempt you to upgrade to the full app, but it would make sense to me that it was a full app because Adobe Bridge is not Lightroom. So it really depends which way they're going to go, what they're trying to do with it. But what people are clamouring for is an alternative to Lightroom. So my guess would be separate. The other reason that they would separate it is it's probably going to be that good it's worth paying for. And they would have to invest so much in it that they're going to need a return from it. But I'm guessing. So our lighting, I'm moving our lighting, aren't I? So you can really change that image. Let's move it up to get the lighting right, and then zoom out and bring that point down. You can really change the lighting on that image by adding this lighting. So it's changed the entire tone of the image. Did anybody ever work out what we didn't want? You should be having a good old gander at that image and thinking, whoa, that's not right. That's not right. We don't want that. What we don't want, if we look at the bottom, we've got stripes. Where on earth did these come from? They're the repairs. And the reason that they're standing out like a sore thumb now is because the repair layer is above the lighting layer, and the lighting layer is only applying to the background. So we would need to merge that, and it would have been an idea to do it before, but let's see what we can do. Can we merge? No, we don't want to merge visible. Well, let's try it. No, that's not going to work. We're going to have to do it by undoing that and taking the lighting away, taking these two, merging those, merge visible. And now we've got the repairs together. So this pixel layer, the layer in the middle, has got the repairs in it. Yep, that looks about right. What I could have done with that is actually merge the... Hang on a minute. Let me undo it and take those two away and merge those. Let's see if that looks any more normal. That's better. Right, then I can turn these on and off if I need them. Okay, so I've got that there. So let's go back to our layer, live filter layer lighting, and put the lighting back on. So let's drag it up there. Let's put this in the right place. So just above her head, really, and then bring it back in. So bring that one down so it's on there, that one up there. Play around. And up a bit. Too much. Further out. There we go. Right, so I've completely changed the lighting on that one. And just close that down because the lighting is there and it can be toggled on and off. So that was what we started with. Let's make sure we can see the whole thing. But I've changed the lighting to focus the emphasis on her face. But I've done it in relation to the two lights that are already there, because I've got two lights at the top I can actually see. By doing it as a live filter layer, though, I've left it editable as well. So, because I've left it editable, on my lighting here, I can select just my lighting. And if I think I really like it, I like the focus it's putting on her face, but it's making everything else a little bit dark, change the opacity. Because you're only changing the opacity of the lighting effect. So you can take it down to nothing, you can have it halfway, or you can take it all the way up. You can also, of course, change the blend mode of that. So as I'm moving down, then you get your quirky stuff for your magazine covers. Oh, all kinds of horrible, horrible effects. They're not going to be good. They're going to get worse as I go down the list. But the point being, you can do it. So, I mean, I've seen images like that on magazine covers. I've seen that as well, but not a good look. Not a good look. But you get the idea for what you can do with it by keeping it separate. But if you don't keep it separate, you can't do anything like that with it. Your actual pixels on your background layer are now ruined. And remember what we're doing here, we're editing the original HEIC file because we can. What I actually tend to do is save that out as an Affinity Photo file before I get way before I get this far. But that's the kind of thing that you can do with it. So that one's not bad at all. So we just cropped that one and got something nice. We could alter the lighting on that. And really change the lighting on that to focus your attention to her face. So let's have a look at a couple of the others, because we wanted to see the one with Benny's head, didn't we? That one would probably just be changing. It looks a little bit smoky. I'd be looking to up the contrast. The rule is definitely keep it simple. Don't make it crazy unless you're going for that crazy 70s look, basically. Now that one's a good one with the skull, as is that one with the skull. I think it was that one that I actually did the edit on. So let's send that into Affinity and just make a couple of changes. Oh, why did he open that in Designer? Oh, good grief, we don't want it in Designer. Oh, dear me. Photo, take it to Photo. And the thing was, when he was doing this piece, it was amazing. It was fantastic. And I want to remember that. I want to retain that. Now, I made the choice with that image to go wide because he had that right above his head by about 4 foot. And I thought, I don't want to miss the skull off the top. But now it's far too big. So the first thing to do with it is crop that down. Make sure we keep the skull, take it in. Really want to focus on that. And I've got a choice here. My first instinct was to take that light off the right by taking it in. But afterwards, I thought it might not be a bad idea to have a little bit of that light left in. And maybe take that up there, get the edge of the stage out of the way. So that was the first decision I made. The thing that really struck me, though, and I would go through the contrast and the levels and all the rest of it, but the thing that really struck me was the skull. That skull on the night was fantastic. And it had these glowing red eyes. And as you can see that they're glowing, but not greatly. Right? So I thought, can we do anything with that? And it's actually really simple. You need to keep, if you're going to do it properly, and you can see how grainy it is, but then when you're just a guest, you're pretty stuck. I wanted the glow to be more intense on the eyes, so you could really see it when you were looking at it like that, because his jacket's really red and it's distracting from the eyes. So we're looking to make the eyes much more red. So I've got a layer there that I'm going to call eyes. And it's really simple. You get the brush tool, and I've got 100% opacity on the brush tool, and it's about the right size. It's possibly a little bit small for the eyes. We could make it a smidgen bigger. Problem is, of course, at the moment, you can see as I hover over it, it's black. So the first thing I need to do is to go and choose a really glowing, bright red. Let's go there and make that 100% red. All right, 255 red. And put that like that. Now, I know what you're thinking. That doesn't look in the slightest bit natural. No, it doesn't, does it? I'm going to make sure I filled those in. And it couldn't be easier to do something like this. All you need to do is tell it that all the pixels on the eyes layer need to be colour. You don't need to block anything out from the pixels underneath. Just take the colour that's on the eyes layer and apply it to the background. And to do that, you change the blend mode. And obviously, I'll show you darken, and oh dear. That one's not bad, actually. Colour burn's not bad. But I was going to go for colour. So let's have a look at colour. Colour's more intense, I would say. So I'll go for colour. And let's have a look at that zoomed out. Now it's much better. That's what the eyes were like. That's exactly what the eyes were like. And while they're bright, they're not too bright. But if they were, if you thought, starting to not look natural, take the opacity of the layer down. As you do that, you go, that's none. And maybe 54%'s about right. Or you can go the full way. So don't rule out opacity as something that can really help you improve an image. Obviously, with this one, you could go crazy again with the lighting. You can use spotlights as well. So you see these lights down here. You can actually put another spotlight on. So like that light up there. Let's get a live layer and go to lighting. And this time you've got spot, you've got point, you've got direction. So let's have a point of light. And there is a point of light in the image, and you can move that point of light round in the image. So if you wanted that to be more intense, you could do that. Or you could have that coming in off there. Now, obviously, your problem at that stage is it's impacting the rest of the image. So you might want to make that much bigger. But literally, it's like you are in charge of the lighting on the stage while that's been taken. So I'll leave it set like that. Maybe not an improvement, but just to show you the difference that you can make. So you've lightened it up and you've changed the focus of the light so it's coming in from the right-hand side. So basically, have a play around with your images. Mine didn't need too much and they surprised me, actually. Having said that, if I was working on this image, just to show you, this was the lighting rig and I can see it and I'd work on it and get rid of that. Because the line of the lighting rig across there is ruining my skull. And I went to such trouble to get that skull captured. So I would go through and tidy all of that up. And then you'll end up with an image that isn't really bad. And I remember saying to Mike as we came out, you know, I've been to concerts years and years ago. I went to one concert and somehow I managed to get an SLR camera in with a roll of 36 images, and that was what I got. And I was about 10 rows back with a zoom lens, and I had it hidden in an army bag. I don't know what you call it, but it was my granddad's army bag. It was like a supply bag. And I took it out and then took a picture and put it back in the bag. And I managed to get about 20 not bad images. It was Clanod if you were interested. It was a fantastic gig. But if back then I'd have got images like this, I'd have been blown away. And you're just taking them on a phone. So don't rule out using your phone if circumstances demand it. And I'm going to see ABBA again next August. And I'll not Bjorn again. What's the other one called? ABBA Reunion at Goresworth Hall. So I'll be taking more images. And if you join us late on next summer, I'll probably be doing some of those. Interestingly, though, although it's, same music, it'll be different people. And it'll be a totally different everything, because that one will be outdoors. The lighting will be different. It'll be in the middle of August. You'll have natural lighting for the first half of the show, and then as it gets dark, you'll have completely different lighting in the second half. For me, I just snap, because it gives me things to play with and test out apps like Affinity Photo with it. So you can do so much with it. So I hope that was useful, looking at my ABBA images. I really like those. I think I had one more, didn't I? And all I was going to do with it was a crop. It was, let's have a look. Did I need to crop one? No, that didn't need a crop, did it? I think it was one of Benny. That one needed a crop, didn't it? So if I just do that one. Just really show you what kind of difference it can make just to crop it. I don't actually think that would need much else at all. But it will make a huge difference just to crop it. But if I tried taking that, I would have to have taken the time to turn the phone round just to get the middle bit. So rather than do that, because they kept moving across the stage, and if they were further apart, I'd need the phone in landscape mode. So take that in. That loses the two microphone stands of the guys that you can't see anyway. Take that up. Totally different image. And I'd be looking to lose that. I think that was a reflection. And I would go through and I would do, boost the contrast a bit, make it punchy, but not too much, because it starts to lose reality. So there was images. Our Affinity Photo of the week. That's become such a demand. You keep demanding Affinity Photo. Right, let's go in and have a look. Oh, it's unboxing of the week. And I've got a toy. And I want to see my toy. So, you need to... I know the camera. The camera's the pain in my backside, being honest. Let's see if I can get it working. For a start, yours wouldn't reflect properly, would it? So, it did in the end, but I don't know why it didn't in the beginning. Right, there's my phone. Come on.
You tinkered with it.
I had not tinkered with it. Oh, now come on, don't start moving. That'll never do. Right, let's get that down there. Whee! Are we the right way round tonight?
Yeah.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. Which means I've got to tap it, and I've got to do that, and then it turned upside down. But tonight it's playing ball.
The light
on. I'll put the light on. So let's get the light. There's the light. And just in case you're wondering, I really do run the place with Post-it notes. Now we need the stand. Where did that go? And that needs.
Can just hold it.
And that needs to go on that way. It's all organised, this, you know. There we go. Let's get that in there. Right, I think we're good to go. Oh, there's the box. The box. This is the box. It's not a Surface Pro, McJim.
I can confirm it's not.
It's not been opened. Look. Not opened. Look. Plastic.
And I signed for it.
Did you sign for it digitally?
Yeah. No, just...
There we go. There's my unboxing. Now, the logic of this toy is I've got hundreds of these already, but this one's slightly different. Any guesses? Sling it in. It's not a Surface Pro, unless it's folded up, which I don't think so. Ooh, look, tearing plastic. Now, this is a two-parter. I'm opening it tonight, and then next week, because we're going live, same time, same place next week, I will show you it in use. So, ooh, it's like an Apple unboxing.
Does it smell of new Mac?
No, sadly not. I've sniffed and it doesn't. You can see my poorly finger too, with the plaster on it. Oh, come on. Unboxing. Oh! It's a battery. Now, you might not be excited by it being a battery, but I'm excited about it being a battery. I am. Right, it's not too heavy. I'm surprised. I've got quite a few of these, and usually they're very heavy. That's actually quite light. It is a battery. It's an external battery. So let's get the rest of it out, because it won't make any sense at all without the rest of it. Instructions. The exciting bits at the bottom.
No, it's not pink, it's yellow.
Oh, no. Where does that plug? Where does that... Oh, it must go in there. Oh, right, that knackers me. But never mind. Right, no, it's a battery. It has in it USB. So... what I can do. I don't know if it's got any juice in it, because you've literally just seen me unbox it. So I have here this USB cable. Luckily, I have another iPhone. Second iPhone. Oh, look at the state of that case. Oh dear. Right, iPhone. So what I'm going to do is see if it will actually charge it. So that end goes in there. And then I'll explain why I've bought it when I've already got a fistful of these. Let's see if it turns on. Oh, that's not going to work. That's a Kindle charger. Hoisted my own petard again. Not a problem. I have a cable. There we go. I have cables all over the place. Right, USB cable. Right, lightning cable. Plug in. Not a thing. Let's turn it on. Whee! It works. Right, so what we've got there is 100%, 75% charged. So it won't do the job I want it for unless it's 100% charged. But that's what it does. It's your portable power for your phone. So if we look there, we can see it is actually charging. There, it's green and it's charging. So it's your portable power. Doesn't need to be plugged in. You are now totally portable. The reason I bought it. That's part one. Part two. You're right, McJim, it's got 75%, so it's sort of just over half. But what I'm interested in is nothing to do with my tech. I'll give you a second to get over that. Nothing to do with my tech. Oh, no, there is another thing on here. This is where you charge it. This is where you plug in your devices. But this is what I'm interested in. Car. Because the other half of what's in the box is crocodile clips. Yes, I'm going to make sure Mike starts working. I'm going to run round after him with these crocodile clips. He'll be fine. There we are. And the logic of these are, you put those on the car and you put this bit into here. I'll plug them in, but I won't attach them to anything, don't worry. That's for later. Does this... now, luckily, looking at that, it can only go in one way. One of them's round and the other of them is a D shape. McJim, I like that idea. An electric car. I'd settle for mine being all right, but mine's annoyingly iffy most of the time. Right, so I plug that in there. And I've got these lights here. Not to Scoob is what they mean, not read the instructions. Probably telling me I should have put these on something first, but before I blow myself sky high, I'll unplug it. Can actually turn it off. Oh, never mind. So that's what I want it for, because my battery's got a mind of its own. The electrics on my car are, what would you say? Independent of reality, is what I would say. So I can often go out, and it's absolutely fine, and then it doesn't want to know when it comes to starting. I've got these big hulking things that are about 15 stone. And it takes about 24 hours to charge them. My logic was this wouldn't take as long. It's actually not that powerful by comparison to what I've got. So hold that there, Mike. Let's get my others. Here are my others. So this thing here is going to power the car, is the logic of it. So I'm going to let my battery run down this week, and then I'm going to video myself attempting to start it with this to show you the results next week. So that there is 8,000 whatevers. MAH, is that megaamps? Whatever. I'm sure somebody will tell me. It's 8,000 of them. This one is the one I use to charge my iPhone. And it's my oldest one, I think. And that one is, come on, tell me. 22,400. So, 8,000. 24,000. I think this one's fractionally less. Let's have a look. No, 24,000. And this one, my new acquisition, it's flatter and it charges my laptop. It actually charges my MacBook Air, this thing. It's bigger, but it's only just over the thickness of an iPhone. And if you look there, you can see all the ports on it. So I've actually got at that end there USB-C ports on it. So the beauty of this one is, apart from the fact that it is 28,500, I could run every car on the street. It charges double quick speed because it's got USB-C on it, and it will power my USB-C laptop. Also comes in a natty little bag. So that's my favourite at the moment, but this is my long-term one. This one, bless it, it's been all over the place with us. So because I've had such good use out of these, I decided to give this a go. So we'll see what happens with it next week, but it actually does say on it, you can't see it too well, let me get the light on it. There we go. Move that. You hold still and I'll move it. Jumpstart portable charger. Well, we'll see if it does or not. I read the reviews and it said it was amazing. It was the princely sum of £15, which will be an absolute bargain if it does actually start the car, which is why I'm going to let the battery run down and then report back. Would that I had an electric car. Mine basically runs on AA batteries most of the time, if I'm lucky. But yeah, I've got a load of these blocks. It would have been nice if I could attach this to these, which was my plan if I could, but looking at it, I can't. So I'm going to have to keep this one fully charged up. But because I've had such good use out of this lot with my phones, these, I decided to give this a go and pension off the one that's absolutely huge. So that was part 1 of the unboxing. Next week, we'll see if it worked. Can't say fairer than that, can I? I wanted to open that earlier today, didn't I? And I was so good to wait. No, he wouldn't let me. He said, "What are you doing?" Well, don't put it down because you're still broadcasting that when you've finished. So let me get it back in the box. Oh, I've got frames. Yeah, they've seen the boxing as well as the unboxing, and then it'll come back next week. Can also be a defib. I might need it. If it works, I'll be thrilled. But if it doesn't, then I've got to go through the vagaries of getting it back to Amazon, in which case I will need a defib. Do you know, these are probably actually more powerful than a defib, which is frightening. We had defib training and the down things talk. Yeah, part 2 from the hospital. How it went. That's a good point, McJim. Right, I have to move this out of the way. It doesn't. Why didn't I take that full screen? I'm slipping. But never mind. I was concerned about it. Did I talk about that on MacBites? I bought, what did I buy? I bought a cable, Curtis. I got a MacBook Air, my new MacBook Air. And my new MacBook Air uses USB-C. And it only had one cable with it. And I had my iPad and my MacBook Air. The MacBook Air cable's about 6 foot and the iPad cable's about 3. And I thought, well, that's fantastic. And it comes with a little USB-C charger and it's got to be USB-C to work. And I looked at it and thought, well, that's fantastic. But I can't use it if I'm on the floor charging it. So I bought these cables. Let me fish these cables in. We covered them on one of the very early shows. Let me get this back in and show you. Nope, it's okay. That is one end of the cable. That's the USB-C end. And then we follow it back, turning the light round as we go, across all the charging and post-it notes and rubbish that we've just opened. And there's the other end. And that's my 10-port USB charger. And rather than have it plugged in on the floor, I wanted it plugged in on there. So I bought this cable, the grey one. And there was 5 in a packet for £8. I think at the time, actually, they were £5.99. And I thought, this is ridiculous. It'll blow it sky high. So like you're saying, I was concerned myself that it would fry the phone or the iPad. And it arrived and I was still worried. And then I thought, oh, just try it. Just try it. And I did, and they're fantastic. So I bought another 5. Because these from Apple were about £30 each. And I paid less than £2. So yes, I was concerned about it frying, but it was fine. And I do charge with this cable and one of these blocks, my phone, my iPad. You can get out of this about 5-6 charges of an iPhone 7, maybe 3 to 4 charges of an iPad, and it's absolutely fine. So it charges up with a Kindle charger on that side, a USB, not an A mini USB, I think that is. That shows you on there your battery charge. In there is your outputs. It's even got a torch on it. And all you need to do is push that button to turn it on. And I do think if I press it again and hold it, I think the torch comes on. Or is it making a liar out of me? Torch not coming on. Or maybe it's flat. No, it's not flat. It's just playing with... There we go. There's the light. Just playing with my mind. So you have to press it twice. There we go. Twice to turn it on, twice to turn it off. So yeah, I've had very, very, very good use out of those batteries. They are amazing quality. Right, don't think we'll need that again. So let's get back in there. You've disappeared. Right, so I will put the link in the show notes for that if you are interested. And it's on to App Chat. And what we like to do for the last couple of minutes is you tell us what apps you want us to have a look at. I agree with you. Apple has made an absolute fortune on cables and it's daylight robbery. Their cables are utter garbage. I think that's turning on by itself now. Never mind. Something's flashing somewhere. It is. It's actually flashing. Oh, good grief. No, I don't buy Apple cables anymore. They're not good enough quality, to be honest. They're really not. I don't even tend to use the ones that come with them. I've actually got a box full of Apple cables I haven't used. These are very good. They're very good quality. Much sturdier. The only thing with them, I would say, they're nylon braided, so they're strong, But judging by when I clean an Apple cable, a plastic white one, and I like just wipe it over with a damp tissue, the dirt that comes off, and obviously you can't do that with these, so I reckon they'd probably get grubby. But in terms of longevity, they're bound to last longer than the Apple ones because they're absolute garbage. And when they want, and I looked at the price for a longer, thicker cable from Apple for the MacBook Air, and it was £69. Not happening. Not happening ever. But I haven't had any problems with these, touch wood. And to be honest, if they break after sort of 4 or 5 months, I'll just bin them and get another one. So we want to know what apps you want to see. I know you like Affinity. This week was photo. What should we do next week? Publisher. What should we do with it? Let me know what you would use Apple. Yeah, they wish. Affinity Publisher for. I've done that since I had it. I've done 2 jobs for clients with it, and a few for myself. One was what do you call that? It's kind of a brand book, wasn't it? A brand placement book. Yeah. And the other was that thing for the church thing, our carol service. So basically they were, one was an A4 brochure, one was an A5 brochure, but you could use it for posters. I don't think it's all there yet for long form books. It doesn't have mail merge. Let me mourn for a second, because I had huge plans for mail merge. I did, and it doesn't do it. It doesn't do embedded PDF links. So that's a pain. But anything else that you can think of that Affinity Publisher you might like to do with it, then I can probably have a dabble with it. Haven't used LumaFusion, McJim. Have used Luminar 3, but not LumaFusion. I'll have to have a look at that, won't I? Did get a couple of suggestions last week about apps for iOS. One was to replace the internal camera app, and the other was to record video with. And the recommendation was they were both better than the built-in apps. So that's one thing we could have a look at. But if we were doing Affinity, which app and what would you like to see? Because whenever I ask, you always say Affinity. We love Affinity. We love Affinity. We like Affinity Alchemy here. We absolutely do. So let me know. What else do we have planned for next week? Oh, we're going to be looking... Hang on a minute. Didn't I have a running order for next week? I did, but yeah, that was after the wrap-up. But if I go in here, I can probably bring it up. That's a good plan, isn't it? There we go. So we something Affinity, the Affinity Adventure of the Week. But working productively, because we've changed virtually everything we use in 2018. We've got different calendars, different contacts, different to-do apps, different note apps. We've changed absolutely everything. So we thought about looking back at what we changed and why we changed it, and looking forward to how we are intending to work productively in 2019. Okay, McJim, you have a fantastic night. I've managed studiously to avoid the first 2. I did see his walk, and that was enough to put me off. The other thing was, I think I've seen the ABC murders at least 20 times. So I'm pretty sure I can remember who did it and why, and I couldn't care less. So I must admit, I've given that one the bye. I do intend to watch Luther on New Year's Day. I think it's the 1st of January, isn't it? That's on. And what I've done sneakily, the iPlayer has got the first 4 series on. So it's definitely worth a while catching up as well. So I'll probably do that. Right, colour black and white photos in Affinity Photo. That's a brilliant one, Carl. Not tried that, but I do have, handily, a photo that might work for that. I've got an old black and white. Well, actually, it's not even black and white. It's sepia. I've got an old sepia of my mum, and it would be very nice to try colouring that one. Oh, I like that idea. I'll have a dabble with that, see what I can do. McJim, we adore Snapseed. I live in Snapseed on iOS. Every photo I take on my iOS that needs dealing with goes through Snapseed. Obviously, you can't use Affinity Photo because it's not on the iPhone. But there is Pixelmator, and I ignore it. I ignore it for Snapseed. I agree with you, it's the best. The one I used to use... What was that one I used, Mike? And I used it well beyond its sell-by date. No, not Snap Heal. Was it Photo Bag or something? Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Was it camera? No, it wasn't camera bag. It'll come to me. And I loved it, and they killed it. I think it was a case of Google bought it, and that was the end of that. So I do now use Snapseed, and it's fabulous. So that's a good call as well. Mosho Sideshow. Oh, is that on iOS or Mac or Windows? Could be even on Windows. I use Photo Magico on the Mac, and that's fantastic. It's an iOS app. Oh, so it could well be Photo Magico for iOS. I'm liking that as well. We are making notes here. We are making notes of all of this. Fantastic. These will see the light of day in upcoming shows. So keep the ideas coming in. You can always catch us on Twitter. It has been known I venture into Facebook every now and then. So, but don't, for heaven's sake, rely on Messenger because it's complete anathema to me. But I'm there on Twitter. You can get me through the contact form on MacBites or my own blog or LinkedIn. I'm there in all those places. So, get in touch with what you would like to see. Photo Magico. Photo Magico is amazing. I did do a whole session on that. But from memory, I could have done more. I could have pushed it a little bit. I ended up using it for what was supposed to be a simple job. Good night, McJim. The simple job was basically putting music to slides. And it bombed out in PowerPoint. It bombed out in Keynote. And it left me sat there with like, oh no. And I suddenly thought, hang on, Photo Magico, could that do it? And it did, and it was fantastic. So I have actually got a genuine project that was done in there for a school teacher who needed to do some, I think it was Easter, and it was to that would be a problem on YouTube, though. They'd advertise it. It was to the tune of Celine Dion's The Prayer, and it was putting music behind it, and that one was a genuine one. The other one that I did one of the life story of someone who'd just been canonized. So yes, I've got some Photo Magico stuff, and it works fabulously well. So we can definitely look at Photo Magico. I could do my ABBA thing, couldn't I? I could get all my best ABBA images together from all 3 concerts and put them in Photo Magico. That's a good call. That's a good call. Well, we're going to make a note of all those suggestions. And next time we will have something Affinity. And if you want to push me in one direction rather than the other, you get in touch with me and you will push me that way. And then we're going to look at these productivity apps. One I think may feature heavily is Notion. Notion is amazing. Whatever you do, Notion is amazing. Even if you think, I'm not interested in productivity apps, I'm productive enough. Notion has the ability to catalogue images inside itself. Did you know that? Notion has inbuilt galleries. So when I show you images in a demonstration like tonight, believe me, 2 weeks from now, I'm not going to remember which ones I showed. So what I'll do at the end of this session is take those ABBA images and I will put copies of them inside Notion where the notes are of what I did tonight. And I'll actually be able to just glance at the images in their own gallery. So even if you are a creative, Notion is your friend. Notion is your friend, big style. So I've got a sneaking suspicion that will appear. But there will be something for all you creatives out there and all you Affinity lovers, because it wouldn't be an after hours if there wasn't, would it? So do get in touch. Let us know. Thank you for the suggestions tonight. We'll be taking a look at every single one of those. We are off work until, wait for it, the 7th of January. Yes, a result. We do have a very long Christmas break here. Mike finished for Christmas on the 7th of December and is returning on the 7th of January. Can I just say, though, we don't have a summer vacation. We don't do vacations in the heat. That's why we have a long Christmas holiday. Okay, good night to you, Carl. We are going to head off now. I think, is Graham still there? Because it is our tradition. Is Graham gone as well? Oh, that's right. She did, didn't she? It is our tradition, so even though Graham's not here, it is our tradition to go and have something to eat. Now, it's Christmas, and despite the fact we're gluten-free, which is somewhat limiting in every regard at Christmas, we've got some gluten-free mince pies. So tonight's treat for us is going to be some gluten-free mince pies. And somebody found something else, didn't you?
Gluten-free sponge cake.
Gluten-free sponge cake. So, despite the hour, could need some indigestion pills later tonight, we're going to treat ourselves. So do join us next week. Let's get that up so you know where and when. We would like to say Happy New Year to you. We will be back in 2019. Our first show is a week today. It's the 8th after hours on the 4th of January. It's 9 p.m. GMT, which is 1 in the afternoon Pacific time. And is it 1 or is it 2? No, it's 1. It's 1. And it must be 4 o'clock Eastern. So do join us there. Do you both work regular jobs outside of this? We do. We do. Mike works for a company, although he does like to work from home most of the time when he can get away with it. And I work for myself. So this is our fun time and this is what we like to do. Basically in our jobs are basically this, aren't they? Having fun with tech. We just love having fun with tech all the time. So Mike trains people and I train people. My YouTube channel is where I put a lot of my tutorials, but I also put together courses as well and do one-to-one training. So we love it. We absolutely love it. So join us next week. Wouldn't be the same without you. We might even get a MacBites out. If you don't know what a MacBites is, if you're here because it's an after hours and we talk Affinity, MacBites is our podcast where we talk Mac-related stuff. And we're overdue one, aren't we?
Yeah.
A little bit. About a month. But we will endeavour to get one out either before the next show or just after the next after hours. So if you've never heard of MacBites, you need to hear of MacBites because you'll need to hear MacBites Siri and Lady Siri. If you don't know who they are, download an episode of MacBites and whiz through to the end. And your patience will be rewarded with some humour. They're in every show. They're not in after hours though. They're asleep. But you never know, they might make an appearance. Might make an appearance in the after hours. But for the moment, it's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
We will both see you next time, which is next week. Good night, guys. Have a good New Year.